Hello and welcome to Birmingham Goes Live, where this week, after last week's result, we're going to be talking all about America. I'm Dom.
And I'm Anastasia, and we've been inspired by recent political events in America, such as, like the election, for example.
Maybe. We're going to be talking to Em Simpson, who is a history and politics student, all about her thoughts on the result last week.
We'll also be watching some really exciting highlights from our American football game, xpLosION, with some great performances by Bud's Dance Society and the Birmingham Pussycats.
And we'll be speaking to fresher Sierra, who's all the way from Colorado, to talk about what it's like to be an American student in the UK.
We'll also have a great musical guest, Laura Nash, getting us in the mood for America.
But first, let's watch some highlights from xpLosION. You're not on form today. Joined by Sierra Franson. Thank you very much for joining us, all the way from Colorado.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, nice. So, did you watch xpLosION at the weekend?
Yes, I went with a couple of friends. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And what did you think of it?
I thought it was super cool. I didn't really know, moving over here, that American football was a thing really anywhere else. So it was really cool to see it in a different country and see it with different people.
How does it compare to the games in America? Because obviously, from what we see, they're these huge, events. Every single month or whatever it is, all the whole school gets together and watches a game. Is it really like that?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I went to a really small school, so it was only 300 of us would get together and watch a football team play. But on a national level, going to NFL games is super fun because it's your whole state that's being represented. So it's different, and I wouldn't pick one over the other, but I think that it's definitely comparable.
And in terms of institutions and schools, is it quite a big thing in high school, college culture to go together to a football game?
Yeah, for sure. You go with your friends, and it's your friend has a boyfriend on the team or something, or if one of your friends is playing, it's super cool because you can go and support them, and it just kind of makes your high school or wherever you are feel a little bit more personal, I guess.
And what is?
After you.
What is the culture like in high schools? Is it quite cliquey, maybe Mean Girls-y, or?
I don't want to go on and say that it's exactly like the movies, but I think that it is quite similar, and that's something that I get asked quite a lot. Particularly at my school, there were definitely cliques, and even being a small school, there was still a division for sure. And then there was a Gossip Girl Twitter for my school that got shut down pretty quickly because they thought it was terrible. But so I would say that it's definitely relevant.
So you're a fresher, and how long have you been in the UK, by the way?
I've actually been here. I had to do a foundation year because my credits didn't exactly transfer, and they can. It's just I didn't take the SAT. I took the ACT, and I didn't take AP classes. I took IB classes, and so despite the similarities, I still had to get the extra credits that would kind of be similar to A levels.
So how are you finding being a student in the UK?
I really like it. I really like it here, and so it's really different. I wasn't really prepared for that, but I like it.
And do you feel well supported? And particularly within the university, do you feel like there are places you can go and get support and help with anything that you might need?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I've been quite fortunate. I haven't really needed a lot of help or support. I've felt like I've had lots of great people, so I haven't really gotten to that point. But there is separate counseling and separate help for international students with the International Academy. And so if I have issues pertaining to my visa or something, I do have a place where I can go and get immediate help with that.
That's great. And finally, before we move on, obviously, the result last week, what were your thoughts when you heard? Are you worried?
I am worried. I'm terribly worried. And less for myself and more for my friends that this will affect more, that aren't necessarily, I mean, I'm off relatively easy, living in like a nicer town and being middle class, being bypassing things like that, being straight. It doesn't affect me as much as it would affect perhaps one of my friends who's gay or one of my friends who is of a different nationality or something. So it was pretty difficult to hear because I was just going to try to sleep through it and deal with it in the morning, but my phone was blowing up, like all my friends in the States calling, you know, just saying like it was absolutely insane. Like people on their college campuses, university campuses, like were just walking out to the street and just so upset. On the other hand, people who were really, really happy about it, they were going out in the streets to celebrate. They said it was just the strangest thing to be a part of.
Seems like such a huge divide between the two groups.
Yeah, and a very prominent one, I would say. There isn't really a middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're quite invested in it here, but it must be so different in America where it's actually affecting everyone.
I mean, I think that it's conjured a lot of underlying hatred that is easy to imagine isn't there. Because I think it's really easy to look at like your Twitter feed or your Facebook friends, and these are all people that are relevant to you and that probably share a lot of the same beliefs as you, but very clearly there are people out there that don't, that maybe you're not as aware of, or at least I wasn't and my friends weren't.
Yeah. Well, Sierra, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And now we have to widen our scope a little bit out of America to a more worldwide issue.
Yeah, now, you may have seen on campus this week, Old Joe was turning blue due to Antibiotics Awareness Week.
So recent studies have shown that antibiotics are becoming more and more kind of not effective because so many people are overusing them. And this means that lots of diseases like gonorrhea are becoming almost untreatable.
Yes, doctors are worried that possibly in the future, simple operations at the moment may become nigh on impossible.
Rachel Khan went to find out more.
Welcome back to the Institute of Microbiology and Infection here in Birmingham, home to the largest group of microbiologists in Europe. World Antibiotic Awareness Week takes place from the 14th to the 20th of November, and we've come to find out more about the problem of antibiotic resistance and what we're doing to combat it.
The numbers of antibiotic-resistant bacteria are increasing every year, which means the drugs we've got are not always effective. So if we increase awareness that there is a problem, hopefully people won't need to ask for these drugs when they're not necessary. So we don't need them for coughs and colds, for instance. Bacteria resistant to antibiotics occur in two ways, both of which are really driven by evolution. So the first way is bacteria can have sex with each other and transfer drug resistance genes. And the second way is that bacteria can change when exposed to an antibiotic, and they can accumulate very small changes in their DNA, a mutation. And sometimes this mutation can make them drug resistant. So resistance affects those that are most likely to get an infection. So children and babies, older people, but also other vulnerable groups, so those that may have inherited conditions such as cystic fibrosis. There's lots of new ways of treating infections being discovered at the moment. Some of them, unfortunately probably only a very few, will become a treatment in patients. So we're doing lots of research at Birmingham, from very basic research understanding how microbes, bacteria and fungi in fact, cause infection. And this allows us to start developing strategies to prevent infections. So some researchers are working on vaccines. My team in particular work on efflux, and this is a vacuum cleaner that sucks antibiotics out of cells. So the main thing is we really have to prevent infection. We don't have many cures left, and certainly very few new ones being developed. So we need to prevent, and that means not spreading infection around and being really careful with infection control. You have to remember we don't live in a sterile world, so we shouldn't be using antibacterial wipes all the time. We only need to prevent infection for those that we don't want to catch it. So if you're with a newborn baby, for instance, don't go and visit them. And we need to be just careful about not sharing our nasty bugs. So it'd be really good if everybody could talk about antibiotic resistance and how to prevent infection and the lack of new treatments. And even better if the brightest and most interested researchers would like to come and join us at Birmingham to do research on to finding new ways to prevent or treat infections.
You can find out more about Antibiotics Awareness Week on the Guild TV website.
Yeah, and now we're joined by Ems Simpson, who is a history and politics student focusing on American studies.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I think we can tell by your lovely Hillary badge that we know your political allegiances. What was your first reaction?
In all honesty, I cried.
A lot of tears.
A lot of tears, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not American, and it must be worse for Americans who feel that Trump is going to be have a significant effect on their lives. But I was just so sad for her. And, you know, I think every kind of woman feels the same. Like, sometimes we do get passed over, despite how qualified we are for a position, by sometimes people who are less qualified that happen to be male. I mean, that is a thought that is definitely dominating a lot of discourse currently.
Well, both candidates were shown to be very, very unpopular
Indeed,
with the electorate overall. And I know from a personal point of view, I was quite annoyed by the fact that the Democrats didn't put forward a different candidate who would have been more favourable to the electorate. Do you think there would have been a difference if Bernie had been...
It depends. Like, we may have seen maybe more of a turnout for Democratic voters as the statistics are coming out as we count the popular vote. There are some evidence that shows white voters who turned out for Obama switched to Trump because they didn't like Hillary. And there are a bunch of reasons for this, like whether it's anti-establishment kind of feelings or racial tensions. Not necessarily sure at the moment what the effects will be and also what Bernie could have done at the moment. Obviously, this is still very fresh. It's only been a week. So I suppose it depends. Like, personally, I think Hillary was the best candidate for the Democrats, as shown by my lovely badge. But obviously that varies, and political scientists are going to have to kind of discuss it over the next few years about what actually went wrong for the Democrats.
And looking at it from the other side of the spectrum, because I know the outcome of this election really, really proved how we should listen to the other side definitely and engage them in debate.
Absolutely.
Why do you think, what were some aspects of Trump's campaign that maybe appealed to people and helped him win?
I mean, obviously we heard a lot about crooked Hillary. I think the anti-establishment kind of feeling that we're getting, we got it with Brexit. I've heard that things in Australia are looking quite anti-establishment. France's elections are going to be interesting with Marine Le Pen going after career politicians, Germany as well. I think we are seeing a shift in Western politics against establishment. But I also think Trump had a lot of dog whistle racial kind of tendencies that attracted white voters who feel like they have been left behind by multiculturalism. If you're a white worker from a state such as Michigan, you have nothing to lose by voting for Trump compared to someone who's white, affluent from California, I suppose. And it's worse for people of colour and also LGBT kids. But if you're white, straight from Michigan, where, industries such as cars have gone, they have nothing to lose.
There was some particularly nasty rhetoric from Trump's camp about race and particularly about women. What do you think Trump's election will mean to feminism in the United States? I
mean, I think a lot of feminists were shocked to see that 66% of white women voted for Trump. I think, especially...
Why do you think they did?
I think it's becoming evident that sometimes white women, especially older white women, will feel they have more in common with white men than, say, their people, like women of colour. I think we saw that from the statistics that things such as workers' rights and race mattered more to them. If you are a person of colour, you're going to be more worried by Trump because Trump has said some pretty outlandish racial tensions. And then also, yesterday he appointed someone who is quite clearly a white supremacist to his close circles. So it's kind of weird, I guess. It does mean that things such as Roe versus Wade, which is the abortion rights, are under threat. Mike Pence is very clearly against abortion, and things for like LGBT women are going to be interesting because, and by interesting I mean definitely looking like there's less support. Like gay marriage is obviously a very controversial issue still in the United States. We might look on American Twitter and be like, things are going great, but obviously people are having a reaction to liberal policies such as Obamacare and things like that.
Can you see any positives in Trump's election? Because that's one thing I tried to do as soon as I heard that. I tried to say, is there any? And I did actually find there are some positives, and there are some things I felt that he, you know.
I think it does mean that liberal discourse does have to change. We cannot just simply sit on our kind of high horse and sneer down at people who have concerns about immigration. We have to essentially listen to those concerns and treat it in a way that does make the world more accepting without sneering down on people. Because while Trump obviously attracted racists, not all people who voted for Trump are necessarily racist. It's really important to clarify that. And we saw that in the UK as well, like people who voted Brexit are not necessarily racist, but racists did see an opportunity in populism to exploit that and justify their hate. And it's important that this could lead to a discourse about more accepting politics. Hopefully liberals and people on the left will learn from that.
And I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but why do you think Hillary was so unpopular?
I think there were a number of factors. I think people didn't like her anyway. We saw in the 1990s with Bill Clinton's presidency, she was unfavourable, especially after Monica Lewinsky. Bill Clinton's approval ratings went up and hers fell. In terms of also like a lot of anti-establishment thought, as I've said, is coursing through the West. I think also the Democratic campaign wasn't necessarily exciting. I think a lot of people felt they were bored by the Democratic campaign, and it became more about, well, we're not Trump, I feel, especially from my perspective. I feel like, well, at least I'm not that guy. And it really didn't shout about the positives of open society, I guess. So I think that's where a lot of some of the problems lie, but we're still kind of analysing what happened to really come to a confirmed answer.
I saw a news interview on social media with where Trump supporters were being interviewed, and they said the main reason why they voted for Trump was because Clinton was going to carry on the wars in Afghanistan and bombing Syria and so on. What do you make of that?
I think definitely Trump is definitely more of an isolationist from Hillary. Hillary definitely was more hawkish, which is uncommon for a Democrat to be more hawkish, so more interventionist than her Republican rival. In terms of what this might mean, it might mean that Americans want to focus on getting things better at home. So, like, for example, Make America Great Again was obviously Trump's slogan on his little hats. So I think it's more of a kind of inward focus. Definitely that people feel like things aren't okay at home. Why should we be worrying about Syria?
Yeah.
And things like that.
Well, thank you so much, Anne.
Thank you for having me. It's been
we'll
lovely.
Speak to you in 4 years and see what's happened.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ems. And on to a bit of a lighter note, we've now got a performance by the Birmingham Pussycats. They even had some of the crowd dancing.
Take it away.
We will leave you with the Birmingham Pussycats here at half-time at Explosion 16.
Ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands, stand up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, all lace up your boots. Representing all the women, salute. So ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands, stand up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, all lace up up your boots. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. It's who we are. We don't need no hellfire. Just a female that around. We're taking on. If you're with me, women, let me hear you say. Ladies all across the world, listen up. We're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands. Set up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pulse, all lace up your boots. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Attention, salute. Attention, salute. Attention. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. We are everywhere. Warriors, your country needs you. If you're ready, ladies, better keep steady, ready, aim, shoot it, ammunition on a mission, and we'll hit you with the truth. Divas, queens, we don't need no man. Salute, sisters, we are everywhere. Warriors, your country needs you. If you're ready, ladies, better keep steady, ready, aim, shoot it, ammunition on a mission, and we'll hit you with the truth. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. It's who we are. We don't need no hellfire. Just a female that around. We're taking on. If you're with me, women, let me hear you say. Ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands. Set up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pulse, all lace up your boots. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Attention, salute. Attention, salute. Attention. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Attention. Attention. It's a visual, original. Listen up. Let me hear you say. Ladies all across the world, listen up. We're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands. Set up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pulse, all lace up your boots. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Attention, salute. Attention, salute. Attention. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. You think we're just pretty things? You couldn't be more. We stand strong, we carry on. 'Cause again, that's but we keep moving up, yeah. Can't stop the hurricane, ladies. It's time to awake, yeah. Attention, ladies, attention. It's a visual, original. Listen up. Let me hear you say. Ladies all across the world, listen up. We're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands. Set up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pulse, all lace up your boots. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Attention, salute. Attention, salute. Attention. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Ladies, the time has come. Let us stand together and remember, men fight great, but women are great fighters. Representing all the women. Salute, salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the University of Birmingham Pussycats cheerleading squad!
That number 62 was enjoying himself.
Oh yeah, special shout out to him.
Yeah. And now we're joined by our musical guest for the week, Lara Nash. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
joining
Lara.
us.
Thank you for
inviting me.
Thank you.
And down to your roots, how did you first start getting into music?
I joined rock school in year 7 at my school, and then joined a band when I was 13, and then just decided that I liked
What's
performing.
rock school?
It's like where you get together and just perform, and then get into a band. And
Oh, right. You're doing a cover for us.
Yes.
Is it American Boy you're
Yes.
doing? Appropriate for our topic of the week. How do you go about picking your covers that you perform?
I sort of just try and stick to my style. Like my style's quite slow and acoustic, and so if I like an upbeat song, I'll listen to it and I'll be like, well, how can I make it like my style? So it doesn't really matter about the song, I just try to make it more acoustic, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely gives like a really original spin to it. I like that.
Thank you.
And where can we see you perform? Like, have you got any upcoming kind of gigs or anything?
Yeah, so I have a performance next Saturday, so on the 26th, at the Indie Lounge. The event starts at 7 o'clock, but I think I'm on around 8 o'clock.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, you don't have to turn up at 7, though. You'll be fine. Just turn up for 8. Oh, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. And while you're setting up to perform some music for us, we've got another clip for you here. And this is of the Buds dance squad at xpLosION.
See you get life on the rhythm of my ride and my lyrics up about electricity. Girl, nobody can do you nothing cause you don't know your destiny. Yo, sexy ladies want war with us. In the car with us, them not war with us. In the club, them want flex with us. To get next with us, them can't vex with us. From the day my bond, I ignite my flame. Girl, I call my name and it is my fame. It's all good, girl, turn me on till I earn them on. Let's get it. Y'all them skill out, chip. Thunderball, some give it to, some give it to, some give it to our girls. 5 million and 40 naughty shorty. Baby girl, all my girls, all my girls. Thunderball say, well, I'm on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh, oh. So what's that supposed to be about, baby? Girl, free up your vibe and stop acting crazy. Reminisce on all the good times daily. Why you trying to pose like I be acting shady? What's that supposed to be about, baby? Girl, free up your vibe and stop acting crazy. Shut up, Paul, I give it a good loving daily. Now you trying to pose like I be acting shady. Shady. Yeah, 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 yeah. Feel that chair now. Yeah, yeah. Shonda Paul. So me go so then. Well, I don't really care what people say. I don't really watch what them want do. Still I got to stick to my girls like glue. And I might not play number 2. All I know the time it is getting jet. Need a lot of trees up in my head. Got a lot of dental in my bed to run that real. Yeah, but me name Sean Paul. Give me the next chop. It's so fine. Girl, just let me be there for you anytime. It's so fine. For you I time the longest line. It's so fine. My girl broke out and wine. Mash up my brain and one mash up my mind. When bad man now that's where them nine. I'll be your sunshine, my girl. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Hands up high, we burning up the sky. We got the dance all crazy. Got the club on fire. I like the way you dance. You got me in a trance. My baby, she don't mind at all. Girl, I got you so high, and I know you like. So come on, push it on me. If it feels alright, wanna drop it low and bring me up. No, she doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. Girl, I got you so high, and I know you like. So come on, push it on me. If it feels alright, wanna drop it low and bring me up. No, she doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. Girl, I got you so.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Shut up, all. Give it up, please, for the University of Birmingham Dance Squad!
So much for joining this week. Make sure to tune in 2 weeks' time for our Christmas special. Is it Christmas already?
Soon?
Soon? Time's gone by too quickly. Yes, make sure to tune in for that and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
And now here's Lara to play us out.
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me West End. I'll show you to my bedroom. I'm liking this American boy. And take me on a trip I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come kick it with you. You'll be my American boy. I said, can we get away this weekend? Take me to Broadway. Let's go shopping, baby, then we'll go to a cafe. Let's go on the subway. Take me to your hood. I've never been to Brooklyn and I like to see what's good. Dressed in all your fancy clothes, sneakers looking fresh to death. I'm loving those toes. Walking that walk, talk that slick talk. I'm liking this American boy. And take me on a trip I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick it with you. You'll be my American boy. Would you be my love? Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Would you be my American boy? American boy. Thank you.